Farcaster 101 is an educational series brought to you by GM Farcaster in partnership with Snickerdoodle, building off of their State of Farcaster report, which you can access at Snickerdoodle.com. This 12-part series introduces all aspects of the Farcaster ecosystem and helps you get started building your social graph and brand on Farcaster. GM Farcaster, and welcome back to Farcaster 101. This is module 7, and if you have missed the other 6 modules and you're like, and you don't know how you got here, you can find the full playlist on our GM Farcaster YouTube. And today we're going to be chatting about cryptocurrencies on Farcaster. So, Adrian, how are you doing today? You ready to chat about some coins?
Excited. It's hard to believe we've done 6 modules without talking about cryptocurrencies.
We've done pretty well. Yeah. We tried to set the foundation first, and now we're going to talk about all the cryptocurrencies that you may encounter on Farcaster and how they integrate into the protocol. So here we go. In this module, like I said, we're going to talk about cryptocurrencies on Farcaster, crypto use on Farcaster, crypto rails and payments, how it's set up for that. And we'll specifically in this module dive into warps and USDC. And in module 8, we're going to dive into all the meme coins and all the other different tokens that you may encounter. So, Adrian, can you kind of catch us up and talk a little bit about Farcaster's crypto rails?
Absolutely. So when we did the introduction of Farcaster in Module 1, we talked about how Farcaster is built on a blockchain network, specifically Optimism, which is a layer 2 on top of the Ethereum blockchain. What that means, and we talked about a lot of the benefits you get from a social network perspective. So because Farcaster as a social network is built on a blockchain, you get sovereignty over your identity. You as the user control it. And there's other benefits as well. It's decentralized, so that means there's no single entity in control. It's censorship resistant. So all of those features are benefits to Farcaster being a social network. But because it's built on crypto rails, you have inherently all of these financialization and kind of cryptocurrency functionality and built in automatically. It's because it's built on top of blockchain. So with Farcaster, when you create your account, everybody automatically, even if you've never been in crypto before, gets an Ethereum wallet spun up for you. So every Farcaster account has an Ethereum wallet. When you onboard through mobile and you create your passkey, you don't even realize you're getting one. So in the old days, you would get a 16-word seed phrase to protect it. You don't do that anymore, but just know that in the background, Farcaster spins up a wallet for you. You can get your seed phrase, and you actually do have full custody over that wallet. In addition to the built-in wallet, you have ability to add your own a wallet you already own. So, and there's a way in your settings to connect and verify that you own a wallet, and we covered that in Module 2 in terms of how to do it. So this is just the reminder that we haven't really touched upon cryptocurrency so much, but being built on a blockchain, you get a lot of just the blockchain benefits and kind of crypto functionality out of the box. So we're going to dig into what that means in these modules.
And these are the Legos that Farcaster has, and part of that is this built-in blockchain that helps us to drive a lot of activity. So $18 billion in total value is locked in the Farcaster ecosystem. And we know this from the State of Farcaster report by Snickerdoodle. And what that means, like right now, it's probably even higher. Depending on what the market is doing, this is pulling information from the wallets that are connected to Farcaster accounts. So you can see the full report on snickerdoodle.com, but we're going to dive into some of the crypto related pieces of this to kind of add a little bit more dimension into what is happening, what's the data look like right now in regards to crypto on Farcaster. And why don't you take this one, Adrian? We'll start
Um,
here.
yeah. So what you're seeing on this slide is data from this Data Farcaster report, just showing that the majority of people active on Farcaster are actively involved in crypto. So over eight, or I guess it's 83% of respondents are familiar or active in crypto. Only 5% showed no interest. Um, so
Yeah.
not totally surprising, Farcaster being somewhat new and probably marketed to people who are familiar with crypto. Um, but it's a I'd say a pretty sophisticated audience in Farcaster when it comes to kind of crypto interest and activity.
And it's not surprising that ETH would lead in token worth and holders. So again, this was on-chain data analysis by Snickerdoodle, pulling the different chains and tokens that people are holding within their wallets. And we have, a large number of folks holding ETH on Base, and then also DGen, OP, um, uh, Arbitrum, Polygon, ETH, Mainnet, BNB, Boomer, and Negen at that point. Those are a couple of meme coins. But mostly what you're seeing is different varieties of ETH, essentially, is what we're seeing here. You've got base ETH, and you've got OP ETH, and you've got, mainnet ETH, and all these different varieties of ETH, Arbitrum ETH. And so the ETH community is incredibly strong on Farcaster. Solana, you can connect a Solana wallet. It is also built in, but we just haven't seen as much development from that particular ecosystem yet. And hopefully that will come over time as well.
I
So,
would
and as they add other blockchains, I'm sure we'll see additional development into those ecosystems. But right now, what you see is a lot of building on top of Ethereum and a lot of the different L2s.
Yeah, and I would
And
just add to that, I'd expect that to change over time. Like, I think
yeah,
it will be more, but that's just indicative that early on, the initial kind of community, because Farcaster has attracted devs so much, it tended to be Ethereum developers in that ecosystem. Um, so on this, in terms of data on number of transactions, Base is the most popular chain in terms of transactions on Farcaster. Arbitrum is second with 23%. I think we see Optimism and Ethereum also significant activity. And yeah, nothing surprising here. Zora
yeah.
is making the list. A lot of kind of artist and creativity and NFT activity there.
I think if you go back to our discussion on culture as well in the last couple modules where we talked about even some of the influencers and early folks who were on Farcaster, like really early first, few hundred folks that were on Farcaster, Jesse Pollock from Base being one of them, Jacob from Zora being another. So it makes sense that they're going to be a little bit more active because they're connected early on and really integrated into the ecosystem. But it really doesn't take much for somebody to come in and start to build their own following. So it's, it wouldn't take much for the Arbitrum community to sort of sweep in and become really a big part of Farcaster very easily. They just
In our
haven't
last
yet.
modules, that's right. In our last modules, where we touched upon culture, um, one of the pieces I think about Farcaster culture that's important is, yes, there's a strong base community, but people are not necessarily religious or
Yeah.
super dogmatic about the tools that we're using. Or so there really is opportunity for communities from other chains to grow and prosper. And the emphasis is really, what are you building? And
Yep.
Farcaster is also very consumer focused. So it's not, it tends to be more about what useful use cases are you building with crypto, not what chain are you building on.
Correct. Yeah. And I think the other reason that you see a lot of building around Base is not only because they have such an active community on Farcaster, but also at this point, a lot of people who are within the ETH community have Base ETH. So then once a lot of people have that in their wallet, it's easier to build for that community because there'll be transactions and activity. So again, like that's the other reason I say Arbitrum could very easily become a leading chain on here, because you can see how many people are interacting already on Arbitrum, even though most of that activity is probably happening on their connected wallets outside of the Farcaster ecosystem, just because there isn't anything to do yet within that particular protocol. But soon.
Yeah.
Connected wallets, this kind of looks at all the different connected wallets, and sort of the big thing to think about here is the number of small balances prevalent in wallets connected to Farcaster. And to me, what that says is this isn't all about the whales. It's about the larger crypto community as a whole. It also could just be indicative of, you don't put your main wallet on here, might be the case. People leave a lot of things in safes. Do not connect a safe. I'm going to say that one more time. Do not connect a safe to your Farcaster account, because things get funky. So a regular ETH wallet is best, hot wallet, but also for safety and security reasons, you may or may not choose to use your main wallet. I've never had any issues, and I do use my main wallet is connected, but it's always something just to think about, and make your own OPSIC and be safe with whatever you're doing. But
Good
there is
advice.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I guess that's good advice. And my interpretation on this is, again, everyone on Farcaster has connected wallets. 83% are active in crypto. People are using their wallets to transact. So Farcaster feed is rich. You are not just consuming content, you're interacting on chain. You can mint NFTs. You can pay people with cryptocurrency directly from feed, which we'll demo shortly. So if you are super active on chain, your day-to-day hot wallet that you're using, that you're connected to Farcaster, is probably also not where you're doing your store of value and kind
Correct.
of where you're holding
your long-term plays. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your thing that this is probably your checking account, not your savings account kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because you are interacting. And I find that funny because there's a lot of myth around the fact that, there's nothing to do on chain and people are just, shilling meme coins and things like that. And every day there's more and more things to do on chain if you know where to look. And a lot of that's happening on Farcaster. And this is related, so I'll just jump in here. So small transactions dominate, but large deals hold 13% of the outbound activity. Again, I think that's similar to what we were just talking about, where this is going to probably be your hot wallet, your daily transactions and things like that, but you do still see some larger deals happening, and we do know some whales who hide out among us on Farcaster, among the minimos. So there's a little bit of both happening. Adrian, do you want to chat about this a little bit?
So this was from survey data, what people are using cryptocurrency for. Really, trading and investing are the biggest use cases. Less so for staking and yield farming, and payments and transactions. And this will show up on the feed as well. People do kind of talk about I think kind of like what they're trading in, what sort of trades they're making. It tends to be a little public, but I don't think this is that different than probably any community.
And this particular data came from, this part was surveys. So it was asking the users of Farcaster, what are you doing with crypto use? not necessarily looking at on-chain data, which is what we're seeing in some of these other transactions. So you're seeing more about the on-chain data here, and then you're seeing the surveys from folks and what are they normally are doing with their crypto. And this seems pretty accurate. Although, again, we are seeing a lot more daily transactions. And some of those you may not be thinking about as cryptocurrency because they may be just doing gas. It may be a free, thing or very low amounts. Like if you're minting on MoshiCam or something along those lines, or playing a game, you might be doing it in a transaction, but it's also not going to be a very high value one. And then this again is related to that. This is the survey data looking at centralized versus decentralized exchanges and with split popularity. So I think that one to me is interesting because you would expect decentralized to be more popular, and it is pretty close. But I do think we see a lot of folks who are using Coinbase Wallet. They are using Coinbase, and I think that's probably related to a lot of this, and Binance and Kraken and some other exchanges. Don't want to leave you out, sorry. But I think there's also a lot of folks who even almost exclusively use decentralized exchanges as well. So Uniswap and Matcha and things like that. And you do see some frames and integrations with some of those DEXs within the ecosystem. Anything else you want to add here, Adrian? This is more just
I don't think
like
so.
the
I think it's
survey
covered.
data.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we're going to get into warps. So Adrian, I'm going to let you take this one and talk about what are warps and how do we use them on Farcaster.
Yeah. So kind of everything we've covered is just kind of I'd say the landscape for cryptocurrency in Farcaster, how people are using it, thoughts. We're going to now shift towards actual currencies, starting with warps. We covered warps in an earlier module. Very interestingly, I'm going to point out warps are not cryptocurrency in that they are not on chain. What warps are is actually in-app currency for Warpcast. So they you can purchase them through your settings. You go to your settings in Warpcast, click on your warps, and follow the instructions. Warpcast or Merkle uses Coinbase Commerce for you to purchase warps. Warps cost it's 100 warps for $1 US. They don't fluctuate in value. They cost a penny each. They will always cost a penny each. And you use warps for transacting within only the Warpcast ecosystem. So this isn't Farcaster protocol wide. If you're using an alternative client, you can't use warps. They're just within Warpcast, which is the main client on Farcaster. You can buy 500 at a time, 2,500 or 10,000, maybe more as well. I think the biggest use case for warps is to create channels. And in our final two modules, we're going to be covering everything you need to know about channels. Channels cost 2,500 warps, 25,000 warps per year to create a channel. But other things you can do with warps are you can tip people with it, send people warps. You can also gift accounts to people. So there's the sign up protocol fee, which at this time I think is about $3 USD, but will continue going down. But if you want to onboard a friend, you can gift them an account using warps. So anything else to add on warps?
I think you said 25,000 and it's 2,500 warps to launch a channel. So just to clarify that.
I apologize.
That's okay. You did say 2,500.
I said 2,500, then I said 25,000. It's 2,500 because
just to clarify that. There are some other, use cases for warps at various times, such as minting some NFTs can be minted with warps. MoshiCam in particular is one of those use cases as well. But for the most part, right now, warps are primarily being used to launch channels and don't have too many other use cases at this moment. And then we have USDC, which is built in, obviously not a Farcaster specific cryptocurrency stablecoin, but it is the one that is used often and built into the platform. So you'll see within your profile, you'll see a button. Actually, if you go onto somebody else's profile, you won't see it on your own. But if you go onto anyone else's profile, you'll see a little button that says pay. And one of the main option to pay on there is USDC, but you can also then say other and use a another app such as Paybot to send other currencies through. But USDC is built directly in, so you can send USDC to anyone on Farcaster because, again, as we mentioned at the beginning, everybody has a connected wallet, regardless of whether or not they have connected an outside wallet. They have one as soon as they sign up. So this does allow for some things like this. However, easier to deal with if you have a connected wallet. So we do recommend that you do that. So also there's Paybot that allows you within a cast and a cast action to pay somebody for anything using a multiple different currencies. And let me bring up this video that will sort of give you a little demo overview of what the Paybot cast action looks like. So if you go into any cast at the bottom, click the little button that brings you to the cast action. Within here, you'll see a number of different options. Click Paybot and then look for recipient. In this case, I was sending something to Adrian. And I decided to send her 5 degen, but first I was looking through to see if I wanted to change that to something else. And there are, you don't even see all of them in this screenshot because it went off the charts. There are a number of different coins and tokens that you can send via Paybot. So what this does is create a frame for you, and it drops it into a cast. And if you cast this frame, then you will get the frame that looks like this on the top. Whoops. On the top here within your cast, you hit send and it sends to whoever your recipient is. Whoops. And in this case, it was Adrian. So then I got this confirmation that's at the bottom there saying this has been sent to Adrian. On Adrian's side, she is also getting a notification saying that she was sent this this gift. And she will also get, there's also a way for her to then check in her transactions to see where that went. So within the Paybot cast action, the other thing you can do is look at who has sent things to you. So it serves as a little ledger of what has been sent to you as well. So that cast action has 2 purposes, super useful. And then the other thing is you can also just tag Paybot and tell it what you want to do. So you can just go in and start a cast and say, hey, Paybot, at Paybot, I want to pay Adrian 5 degen, and then it will reply back to you with a frame that you can then transact and send those funds to Adrian or whoever your recipient is. What's really fun and what we're going to talk more about in our next module is that we have some bots talking to each other now. So some of the bots have learned how to do some payments to each other or to other people, and they essentially can call this Paybot to do those transactions. And that is what's getting really interesting. We'll dive more into that when we talk about meme coins in our next module. And just really quick, our next module will be talking about meme coins and crypto use cases. We'll talk about some frames and different things that are happening right now. And we'll also dive into the AI agents who are helping people create meme coins directly on Farcaster. Adrian, as this sort of intro to cryptocurrencies on Farcaster, what did I leave out? Is there anything else that you want to mention, sort of for the basics of what they need to know? And then we'll dive into all the meme coin stuff in our next module. Leave
Yeah, the
anything out?
next module will be the insanity portion. This module is the sanity side. I think I'll just underscore the kind of the two things we talked about, which were warps, not on chain, not decentralized, kind of a point system in the Warpcast, and USDC, which is a stable coin. USDC is really Merkel's preferred currency.
Yeah.
In our last module on culture, we did talk about kind of whether or not there would ever be a Farcaster token, and everything that the court team has said again and again and again is no, and not interested. And I find it interesting that they kind of have chosen to really standardize around USDC because it's not really speculative. It doesn't
Yep.
change in value, but it is their way of spreading value throughout the network. What's interesting as well is it's not something that the Merkle team had to build. So this is like because going back to what we said from the very beginning is Farcaster is built on crypto rails. Everybody has a connected wallet, and therefore Paybot, for instance, is a tool that was built by someone who has no connection to the Merkle team. So, you can, and all users can really transact and send currencies, send value, send money to any other user like that. Like, if you think about what it would take for any other social network to add payments in, you have a social graph. To add payments, you have to go through entire legacy payment and financial infrastructure that exists today, including getting licenses state by state, and that's just in our country. And so because it's all crypto native, anyone can send anyone money very easily, and Warpcast can add that feature in the UI. Like, I think it took a day for them to do that. So it is extremely promising. There's a ton of potential for the intersection, I think, of social and finance.
Absolutely.
In Farcaster.
Yeah, absolutely. Great, amazing points there. And the other thing is that the Merkle team has been doing an experiment with rewarding content creators, and the top content creators of each day, 100, they send $5 USDC. They can do that very easily. You don't need to get all of your payment information. That you don't have to send them your Venmo. They just do it. And then you get a little notification in your notifications, hey, you just got this USDC reward. Congrats. And it's all happening very seamlessly in the background. So very cool to see.
And you just said Venmo, which shows our Western bias, or not even Western, it's our American, right? Like, it was not in every country. Like, I can't Venmo people. So, and Farcaster's global. So because it was connected, everyone had connected wallets. If they wanted to send five USDC to 100 people, it was like, boom,
easy.
Super easy.
Boom. Yep. So it's very, there's a lot of these Lego blocks that we talk about that we've only scratched the surface at this point. So it's going to be really fun to see what gets built. And I was thinking about also, Adrian, you had casted something from Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang had posted on Twitter. He takes his reward that he gets from Twitter and he gives it to somebody within his replies. And he basically just does a little Twitter picker and picks one of them and has to get their information to be able to send it to them and all this stuff. And he said, it would be great if I could reward multiple people just very easily. And we can do that. And we know that we can do that. So it's and you had a point of like, it can already happen. So it's just a matter of like, it's because we're built on crypto rails and we can do all kinds of fun things. And we'll talk more about some of those fun integrations like raindrops and things like that, where you can sort of drop various cryptocurrencies to multiple people in one shot. So there's a lot of that that's happening in different ways from tools that are being built on top of Farcaster. And with that, Adrienne, anything else before we wrap this particular module?
No, I think we covered the basics of cryptocurrencies. Don't forget, join us in office hours, ask us questions. If you have questions also about kind of like the mechanics of how do you connect a wallet, what are these things, we are available. That's what the office hours are for. We can do screen shares, help you out, whatever it is. So make sure you pop in and we would be delighted to help you out.
Perfect. All right, everybody. And that is it for us. We'll see you in module 8. Bye-bye.